Hello, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to another episode of The Robots That Never Were, episode 5. Today I have two people who may have not been on the show yet. One who was going to be on the show last time and didn't, and then was going to be on the Heat but didn't. But he's here now. He's not stayed away from my podcast forever. Yet. It's Nick from the Robot Wars History Podcast.
Yes, Jimjamatic shows are quite stressful, so I just needed a couple of episodes off. But I'm recharged and I am here now.
That is
good. Looking forward to it.
That is good to hear. And also joining us is Mr. Psycho 2.
Hey, thanks for letting me sleep in the garage this time.
You're welcome. Anytime. Anytime for a good friend who's spent so long in, I think it was the attic or the basement. I don't know where you've been at this point, but you get moved around a lot in my
I have
house.
sunlight in here.
For now. But yeah, actually, because but neither of you have been on this one. I've given Sean a break from being on everything in the entire world, so he's not taking a. I mean, I love that. Even when I was on like Mike's podcast. Oh, who's there? Hi, Sean. Oh, him again. You won't leave me. But yeah, we've got 9 robots to talk about, 3 each. We had a slight substitution at the last moment because one robot proved to be too boring, which is why I didn't qualify for obvious reasons. And it was so great, we don't want to talk about it. So
yeah, it says quite a lot that this robot was so bad that it couldn't even qualify for a failed to qualify podcast. So
I mean, yeah, it didn't qualify for the failed to qualify. That's actually quite. I just realised how sad that actually is. I mean, we'll talk about it probably when we get to the scraps of the robots left. Going, oh, who else have we not talked about? Let's just talk about Terrapin from Series 4. Fuck it, we got nothing else to talk about. But no, we've actually got some interesting robots. Apparently, they've got some rants coming up, so I can't wait to hear these I say unexpected, but more expected, the brilliant rants because Anderson style, Mike says. So.
Oh, lovely.
About that.
He can't wait. But we're starting off with one of the replacement pick from Nick's picks. This one is actually the first of 2 robots from the same team being talked about in the same heat by pure coincidence. It is Tiger Shark, formerly known as Sharky in Series 3 with the super heavyweights. But we'll talk about Tiger Shark first. Why did you pick this thing? I mean, it was a last moment thing, but I'm just quite curious why you picked this one, Nick.
Well, I think I picked it because it reminds me of a catch-free machine gone completely wrong. It looks very deformed. It has... Are those meant to be eyes at the sides or light bulbs or something?
They look like lights. I presume
it's like a combination of both at this point.
Yeah, that was probably like an aesthetic design that they thought was really funny, and then it was so unfunny that they failed to qualify. And then it's got a mouth with wonky teeth on it.
Yeah, so... it does. Actually, one that makes me laugh is actually on the where the panels split on the mouth. There's one tooth that's overlapping another tooth. I mean,
yeah, just imagine having a tooth literally bang in the center of your own mouth. That would be quite uncomfortable.
You see, they were using component freedom on Robot Arena 2. That's why. Clearly.
But yeah, Tiger Shark manages it. So if you ever need the dentist or any general tooth work, go over to Team... Oh, they don't even have a team name. But Sean Wilson, Paul Kitchener, and Darren Kimber will help you with that.
I mean, just looking at the weapon design, I imagine it was a really slow lifter. Because it just doesn't look that... I mean, it just, from the picture, the only picture there is of it, it looks very thin.
Yeah, and it doesn't even look like the actual arm of the lifter itself, like, comes out from the robot. It looks really short in comparison to the... It looks like it falls short of the actual wedge at the front, so I'm sure it would have struggled to get any sort of purchase on opponents, but, it says it's a pneumatic flipper.
Yeah.
Not a lifter, so maybe we're underplaying it, I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, actually, this is one of the few robots we actually have got, like, proper specs for. Like, it looks like it's part of the application form on the wiki, or something, but it's got, like, 15 to 20 miles an hour, that's pretty respectable. I'd love the description of the armour is various thicknesses of aluminium. Ooh, keeping it a mystery there.
Oh, wow.
They won't tell us exactly what thickness is. It's just various thicknesses.
0.1
All of the
millimeters,
thicknesses.
From
0.2 millimeters, 0.3 millimeters.
anything from 0 to infinity, you pick the number. But it doesn't, honestly, out of all the shit we've talked about on this series, this is probably one of the most competent robots I've seen. Granted, because at least I know what it is. Like, there's robots like Thundering and Tor, where I just look at it and I don't know where to begin talking about it. While this one, I could see this in the actual arena. Like, it actually could have been a real thing.
Well, yeah, considering it failed to qualify for Series 5, you can at least say maybe it could have won a first round battle against some of the robots in that series, but
Oh god.
I can't say I could see it exactly doing a Stegosaurus and going through to the grand final, but...
God no. What do you think of Tiger Shark, Mike?
Does
You
he?
know, I have mixed feelings here because on one hand, for the Series 4, Series 5 era, it looks like a competent design on the surface. It's got a wedge, it's got enclosed wheels, it has a lifter. You know, that's a good design against probably half of the Robot Wars robots. You know, so provided it works. On the other hand, putting the eyes on the side like it does, it makes it look like this is a shark that somebody has stepped on its head.
It actually does. I mean, also we have to make a notable mention of their previous robot from Series 3, which entered the Super Heavyweight Championship, then ended up being cancelled because of shenanigans behind the scenes. We only saw the Middleweight Championship and a few walkabouts as a result. It was called Sharky. Not Noel Sharky, but
Damn.
it's kind of fun. It's literally just a box with and it just stuffed an inflatable shark on top of it, which I love. It's so Series 3, like so much.
It looks like they just painted Technolease.
It does. It does. Actually, it looks like Technolease or Shrapnel. That kind of just a box with tons of space inside it. Like, I mean, just from the image, I don't know if this is because maybe they're just showing the shell off or something, but I can't imagine this robot having a lot of, like, being very compact. I mean, it just looks like it just has heavy armor or something. I mean, you can barely see it, but there actually are a few little spikes on the front, and that's its only real weapon. But it's Series 3 standards. It was a super heavyweight. People really didn't know what they were doing with super heavyweights. I mean, just look at things like, oh god, look at Demon Duck from Series 2. I mean,
I'm sorry, Demon Duck was absolutely fantastic.
it was so fantastic it got through its battle because the other two broke down and it got beaten up by Sakilot and they still got through.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is fair enough, but what Robot Wars battle is won without another machine breaking down in some form?
Fair enough. And also, in fairness, Demon Duck did have glow-in-the-dark eyes, so that is also a plus.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Come on.
It's been a long time since I've seen the super heavyweights of Robot Wars, but I seem to recall that Demon Duck was the most competent of all of them.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger Shark, again, it isn't a bad robot, honestly. I mean, I'm trying to think, there wasn't really any kind of... There was some specific, because I think they lost to Atomic 2, which is not the worst robot to lose to. And they somehow managed to beat Warhog in Series 4, but they didn't qualify.
What do you mean by somehow everything is beaten Warhog?
Yeah, but they didn't get destroyed in the process, and they still didn't qualify. Like, what do these guys have to do to qualify at this point? I don't even know what this. I just don't even know. Like, there's some funny qualifier battles coming up. I mean, there's a particular one I want to talk on one of my picks that's just so pathetic of how they lost. But Tiger Shark, again, it's not bad. It's just, for the robots we've covered so far in the series, it's quite decent. Overall, it's not the greatest, but I think I could have seen it in at least one of the earlier series, not in the modern series or like Series 7 or something, but put this thing in Series 4 or 5.
Imagine this in the modern series. Oh boy.
You've been drawn against Apex, Aftershock, and Carbide. Oh.
Well, at least it would outlast one of them.
Yeah, that's true. One would just destroy the arena. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's all we can say about Tiger Shark. It's not a bad robot. It's just, I don't know, again,
not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it did go against two okay robots in its qualifying. It wasn't like it lost to, like, Banshee or something. If it lost to that or, like, Granny's Revenge, then there's something wrong. But, it wasn't the worst thing. Next up is one of Mike's picks. This thing is... It might not look like it, but it actually is the predecessor to one of the most infamous robots on his live series for the certain meme that's been pushed around. It's Locutus, which is the Scorpion team.
Yeah, James, why don't you just put up that image of my face right now?
Don't worry, I'm already planning on doing that. Guaranteed. How can we pick Locutus, by the way? Because there's literally only one picture of this thing.
Well, I picked it because... Well, I didn't pick it because it's... Let me start over. I picked it... At first, I was thinking about it because it's like, oh, it's the Scorpion team. And then I found out it's not just the Scorpion team. It's actually Scorpion.
Yeah. It's Scorpion with a different shell.
That's literally... It's exactly the same robot with a different shell.
And what gets me about that is, when you look at the only image on the wiki, it looks like it should have tank treads. Like, it looks very similar to Terminal Frosty from Series 3.
Yeah.
That very tank design. And even got the same weapon as well. Except it's not a turret, it's just a fixed... it goes up and down. But it's still two-wheel drive. This thing is two-wheel drive. It is...
Why?
Well,
Why would you make a robot with such a wide shape and base two-wheel drive?
And since it's Scorpion, the wheels are most likely at the front.
Oh,
This is
yeah. True.
Well, I mean, they had to fit 4 weapons on it somehow.
I mean, this thing only got in Series 4 because of how weird Scorpion looked.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so one of the things that bothers me more than anything with Robot Wars is how little the robot quality seems to matter.
True.
And because you'll get stuff in like Series 6 and 7 that's absolute ridiculous joke entries. You'll get like Rough Dougal and such, and they'll play it up like it's the next Hypnodisc kind of a machine. It's just going to wreck everything because it's amazing, and it's. I was just like hoping, like it was a secret plan of mine that I should enter with a competent robot, and if I don't get in, I'll just paint it with some goofy fucking paint, and then I'll just get in because of the paint. And it turns out the Scorpion team literally did that.
Yeah.
They failed to qualify. The robot wasn't good enough to qualify, so they put a goofy red face on it, and suddenly it was good enough to qualify without even having to fight.
Yeah. Also, there's 2 fun facts about this. First of all, apparently its name comes from Star Trek Next Generation, because I never watched that, so I don't know. Apparently it's something to do with that. Cool. So if you like
sure.
that, fair enough. And the second thing is because of that, in Series 4, Scorpion was the only non-seeded robot to not have to fight a qualifier that got in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
Because of the fucking red face.
Just imagine though if it got to the stage where literally every robot in Robot Wars had to have a fiberglass shell with a face on the front of it. Like, Chaos 2 can no longer qualify unless they just have George Francis's face on the front of Chaos 2's flipper panel. Hypnodisc's iconic spiral design is replaced by the Hypnodisc team's face on the disc. It's the only way they qualify anymore.
Could you imagine Razor having to enter painted Dayglow orange with a troll face on it?
oh my god. I mean, honestly, it would probably work.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, I agree with you, Mike, honestly. There's a lot of... Oh my god, I mean, when you get to Series 7, there is a lot of trash in Series 7. Like, there really is. There's stuff I just don't even believe deserve to ever get in. But, like, just like Series 5 to a degree, but it's even worse, because Series 7's like the kind of peak of the classic series, like, in terms of, like, where the technology was, so you think everything would start getting better. Guess not. But, I mean, looking from the one image that Locutus has, it doesn't look terrible, it just... Again, it's... I guess they just thought it was too generic for some reason? Or, I don't know.
That's the only thing I could think, because, like, it looks like it would be competent in Series 3.
But it was made by the... Mind you, it is literally Scorpion under there. You've got to remember that at all times. Scorpion is under there.
Yeah, and Scorpion wasn't a very good robot, but nothing in Series 3 was very good. So,
and this does have a slightly better shape than Scorpion did. It's less top heavy. It's got a bit better ground clearance, so it's a bit better. As you say, it's like a Terminal Ferocity.
Yeah.
So there's potential for it to be okay.
Actually, funny, the chainsaw looks beefier on Locutus than it does on Scorpion, maybe because of the size difference.
I think it's the camera angle, to be honest. They tried to make it look that much more epic, when in reality it was just like, I don't know, 1 centimeter big.
Yeah, there really wasn't too
quick, get the wide-angle lens.
That was all the craze in the 90s, wasn't it? Wide-angle lenses and shit. I mean, just before we move on to X Robot, I mean, there's one thing I have to point out about Scorpion, which still amuses me to this day, is that original shell got like burnt on a bonfire, and it created so much smoke the fire brigade had to be called in. That's how much of that's how useless Scorpion was. It managed to cause problems even when it was dying, because of course it would. Which is a shame, because I kind of hope that shell would have still like been around or something, but no, it's long gone. That shell's not coming back from the dead anytime soon. But
Glad.
yeah, I mean, maybe also because of the fact that Scorpion's underneath it. I don't know if the motors were different or any kind of anything like that, but maybe it just didn't perform good enough to be in the series, which says a lot for Series 3, and I'm pushing that.
Yeah, I think it really would just have been because of the aesthetic design of it. They already had Terminal Ferocity, which looked a bit more colourful.
Yeah.
So they probably thought about not wanting another identical looking robot that was just silver.
Yeah.
So they turned it down for the likes of... Oh god, you can go through
Crash and Asher is the best one. I mean, again, this is the series that didn't allow robots like Six Pack and Crusader in, who actually are decent robots, but they let in things like Max Damage and Binky. So you know what you're gonna do. But I mean, Locutus again isn't bad. I mean, actually, some of the robots on this in this episode aren't bad. They're just, you can see maybe why they didn't get in, but it's just the fact that it's Scorpion makes this thing more notable. If it was just a regular robot that wasn't tied to it, or if it even was the Scorpion team but had nothing else going on for it apart from the chainsaw, I wouldn't be bothered by it. But yeah, they just put in a goofy shell and got in. Brilliant robot design, folks. God, just colour your robot pink and you're guaranteed to get in at some point.
I mean, they basically just taught everybody how to get onto a television show. Just put on a good face, and it doesn't matter what's underneath.
Yeah, it worked. So I guess it wasn't too bad to a degree. But yeah, I just don't keep doing that, please. Make good robots, please. Then we have the first one of my picks, which I don't even know why I even remember this thing. I think I've just gone on a random page on the wiki and this thing popped up, and I just didn't recognise it, and I realised it was a failed to qualify robot. So, yay! Black Knight.
Wow.
This thing's the worst thing I've picked. Not the worst thing overall I've picked, but this is the worst thing for this episode I've picked. I mean...
James, I'm glad that you said you probably just hit random page, because if this was something that you like aggressively liked,
no, I think I random paged it ages ago, and then when I was doing this series, I thought to myself at some point I'm going to cover Black Knight because of how bad it is, and lo and behold, I'm here now talking about it. It's right. What confuses me the most about Black Knight is the square disc. Just off the bat, the square disc looks stupid.
Yeah. I'd want to try and give them the benefit of the doubt and assume it's a weapon cover, but it won't be. It just won't be. It will be their actual weapon.
It looks like it's made out of like cardboard as well. Like it actually does. Yeah. And the fact it's two-wheel drive and it's right at the back, like this thing must be hell to turn.
You know what this thing looks like? It looks like an even worse bot out of hell, and that is quite incredible to say.
It's like bot out of hell, but also slightly like Three Stegs to Heaven as well.
3 Stegs to Hell.
Oh my god. The Stag team and Team Death made it, and this is what came out.
Yeah. I mean, this thing, who did it lose to in the end? It lost to Derek and Smidsy.
Yeah.
So
And I've just seen that picture at the bottom of the page with their armor after the fight. If your armor looks like that after facing Smidzy and Derek,
mm,
then you know why they failed to qualify.
yeah, it's kind of sad also because it's kind of sad because Derek managed to get a place even though they lost while these guys didn't, and for good reason. Um, Again, it looks like it just looks really odd. Like I think no matter what I think about it, the thing always goes back to the disc. I don't get why it's square. It's annoying me. Like it's not going to do anything. What's a square disc? It's like I'm not joking. Robot Wars in Series 1, Roadblock had a square angle grinder as one of their options. I thought, why would you use that? What possible advantage is a square disc going to do? And they've clearly proven that these guys, oh, we'll go for the square disc, and nope, didn't work. I can make this thing in Robot Arena 2 in like 2 seconds, probably. In fact, I probably will at some point, just to prove how rubbish this thing is. Because you can make anything work in Robot Arena 2, apparently. But I will not be able to make this thing work. God,
What makes me giggle looking at the photo is, I guess it's a seam in the armor right below the knight. Just the way that it looks in the photo makes it look like this machine's about to split in half at any moment.
it does look like sellotape on it.
Yeah, it looks like they built the entire machine together, and then they put that mascot thing on top, but it was so heavy that it made it split in half, and they just patched it back together the day before the fight.
And even the theme doesn't make sense. I mean, you've got the Black Knight himself. I mean, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, the green thing's meant to be a dragon, I guess.
That's all I could think of. I mean, it makes the 3 Seconds to Heaven, comparison look a little bit more valid. But I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, aren't knights supposed to fight dragons, not ride them?
well, the coolest ones ride them. Let's face it. It's cool to kill a dragon, but it's awesome to tame a dragon. So I think you might have done. Again, we're presuming
Yeah.
this could be a new breed of horse we don't know about. I had no idea. But I mean, ask all one person who's on the team, even though there's clearly 2 people on this team. But whatever. I mean, I don't think the kid made and designed everything, because there's
Well,
only
maybe he did.
maybe he did. Maybe that's why he looks like this. I'm not putting not dissing on the kid, but that could be the reason why. I don't know.
I'm looking at the main picture on the article, and is that a crushed Coca-Cola can right next to the robot?
I think it is for scale. Like but
That's
not
probably their interchangeable weapon, actually. So
spray coke on the opponents.
It might be allowed, given the kind of nonsense that's happened in the Robot Wars arena.
yeah, probably.
One last detail about this robot that might explain a lot is it took 8 days to build it. So that might explain a lot. I was just
I
looking.
mean, credit where it's due. If what looks like a 7-year-old could build this in 8 days,
It is fair enough for 8 days, but it explains it at the same time why it's kind of. Yeah. Also, it had a broken lance on it, which is that little pole thing on it. But apart from that, it's just a really odd robot, to say the least. I mean, I was talking about this thing for a while just for how weird it is, and I'm glad I got a chance to say how rubbish it is. But fair game if it's 8 days to make it. I can't complain too much. Fair game to them.
Yeah, I do wonder what that armor actually is then, if it only took 8 days.
I would love to know, please.
Because, if it's like, say, actually cardboard, then that says a lot about Smidzy, doesn't it?
It does actually, or even Derek. But actually, Derek had a little saw as well, technically, but it was so tiny. So answers in a postcard. If you're Steve Parker listening to this, please let us know.
Yeah.
That'd be good. The next one is another one of Nick's choices. It is, I can only describe it as Vlad the Impaler ripoff.
Yeah.
Typhoon Series 3. Not the Typhoon Twins, or all the other billion Typhoons that were made. This is the original Typhoon, technically speaking.
Yeah. And the machine itself, as you said, it is quite literally Vlad the Impaler.
There's not much else to say about it in terms of design. It literally is Vlad the Impaler, but it's got pipes instead of like proper forks. Um, that's really it. I mean, the thing about Typhoon that always gets me. Actually, I feel kind of bad for them because they actually did qualify for Series 3.
Oh yes, they withdrew, didn't they?
Yeah, they had to because their speed controller burned out 3 days and they couldn't replace it. But annoyingly,
or just probably that the Vlad the Impaler guys rung them up and got them done for copyright. But yeah, they'll use that.
well, in that case, why was Griffin allowed in twice? That's my question.
Because Griffin was shit.
Yes, fair. And they got beaten by Cerberus in 7 seconds. So take for that what you will. But in Series 4, they had to withdraw. No, they failed to qualify because of the same thing happening again. Now, once happening is kind of bad, but I think with the same problem happening twice, it's kind of, there's a running theme going with the speed controllers in this team.
Yeah.
It's like how Party and Shot in Series 2 basically didn't work when they came in and only got it working when they were timed out. And in Series 3, they were quote-unquote flipper, and they were just kind of like in the bench, just like, yeah, this robot's fucked again.
I mean, at least the machine lives up to the team name of Team Natural Disaster, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, Mike might have an affinity for this one because references like Twister and stuff like that, which is apparently your favourite movie. I don't get why, but apparently it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and I can't believe they don't know that a tornado and a typhoon are not the same thing.
No, apparently not. I mean, one's tropical and one's. I don't know the difference. I'm talking out my arse now because I do not know.
You still know more than this team, apparently.
Yes, clearly.
I am genuinely surprised though that the producers didn't replace Mauler with this in the World Championship and just said, "Yeah, we flew Vlad over to replace Mauler."
Just make him do really bad American accents.
And then obviously this would be utterly awful. And then they'd be like, "Hey, yeah, Cerberus could beat Vlad the Impaler. There you go. That proves Robot Wars is better."
Apparently, this
that
thing
sounds exactly like something they would have done back then.
Yeah. I mean, hell, they dressed up some random women, say, "Oh, you're part of you're Razor's, other halves and stuff." And only one of them, actually, one of them at the time was sort of, but not even the other two weren't. That's the thing. They were just given some, sparkly wigs and say they're married to the Razor team. I don't know, but one thing I actually found quite funny about this team is that they've had bad success actually trying to get into the main series of Robot Wars, and there are a few teams who actually do well in techno games, despite their bad success. Like, for example, the most one I can think of is 11. 11 won 3 gold medals in techno games, but yet they lose in the first round because their robot goes about 1 mile an hour, and it wasn't built for combat. These guys did actually enter one robot in techno games called Flowerbot in the swimming.
Oh my god!
In Series 1, and it spun in a circle and died.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh no!
it's literally a plant pot with 2 oars, and it just barely moved. It sums up most of the competitors in every swimming event in techno games. Honestly, most of them don't even move a meter. So, Series 1 as well, where Series 1 was the worst series of techno games and always will be. Hands down, it's just shite.
I don't know, they might reboot it and make it worse.
You never know. You never know. When they gave up on Robot Wars, we might go for techno games. I still want Robotica to come back, but, whatever. But
we'll just make our own Robotica, how about that?
What, with blackjack and hookers?
Yes.
In fact, forget Robotica. I mean, is there anything else to say about Typhoon apart from the fact it's Vlad the Impaler? But
I'm trying to find a way to sneak my Vlad the Imapler misspelling in here.
Mapler. Vlad the Imapler.
I mean, if you were to picture what Vlad the Imapler would look like, it would be this. It would be Vlad the Impaler's special needs cousin.
Special needs. Yeah, it really is, and I know it's not meant to be, but it always looks like it from the angle. When you see it from the front on this official wiki page, it looks like a piece of shit rather than a tornado. It just does.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I thought I'd let somebody else step up.
You didn't want to, you make a low blow.
Yeah,
I did it for you. Don't worry. I took that sacrifice. I mean, this is the guy who didn't make a single dick joke when talking about Penetrator, so I'm restrained to a degree. I didn't do that, and I'm still surprised I didn't.
I didn't even. There's a photo of it without its shell on the page, and its base is plywood.
Yeah, that was pretty common for robots back in the day for some reason. Also, a cheeky cameo from Miss Struts in the background for some reason. Don't know what she's doing there, but you know.
Same thing she did in the arena, just sitting in one spot.
Yeah, it's one of those few robots that you don't really need a safety barrier for, do you? It's like it's gonna get you eventually.
It's gonna fall over.
It's gonna get you eventually.
Yeah, just imagine it slowly creeping up on that kid sitting in the chair, just slowly coming up behind it.
Actually, that would be kind of creepy. But I love talking about Miss Struts now, apart from Typhoon, because that's how interesting Typhoon was. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just again, Vlad the Impaler.
It doesn't look bad, but I'm sure it would have been.
Again, it died for the same reason twice, so you know, take for that what you will.
Yeah.
The second of Mike's picks is a robot I've actually was tempted to talk about in the past episode, but it's from the same team who gave you Barry and Sonic. This was one of their 2 failed to qualify entries for Series 4, which we might talk about the other one in the future because it was prominent in techno games to a degree. This is Blur. Blur, technically would have been the first sit-and spinner.
I swear there is about 10 robots that look like this, with this exact picture on their wiki page that failed to qualify.
Oh yeah,
that's probably why they failed to qualify. Yes.
I mean, look at Triforce. Triforce is basically the upgraded version of it.
Exactly.
Although they failed to qualify because they were too dangerous for the arena.
Of course they were.
That's what just blew my mind when I started reading about this robot. Like, this wasn't this was not a spinner with like some hugely powerful motor operating it. It wasn't running at several thousand RPMs. This was just a robot that just drove in a circle on its own. And the Robot Wars producers were like, oh no, we can't have that. That's too dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, bear in mind, this is the show that allows Hypnodisc to come in and wreck shit. But this 79 kilogram robot was too dangerous. Apparently. It's fun. It's amazing.
I'm just gonna go off on this thing.
Oh, go ahead. Go off on it as much as you want. I don't mind.
Oh, it's just for so many years, especially when all the shows were off the air. Just all that I heard was just how much better the Robot Wars machines were than BattleBots machines, and they could beat them, and they were the best ever. And especially Razor and Hypnodisc would tear everything up, and most powerful spinners ever. And then it's so incredible. Like, we were talking about the Robot Wars producers and how they selectively choose what robots they want to be in, based on appearance. And then when you get like an actually powerful robot like Mauler, for example, that could actually destroy Razor or Hypnodisc, and they're like, no, we can't have that. And like, they wouldn't even let a sit and spin robot in there because it might be too dangerous.
It's mental.
Well, this is just picking and choosing at its finest. Like, Hypnodisc and Razor and Chaos 2 were not the best robots around. They were the best that were chosen to compete.
Yeah. I mean, this is also why they shouldn't have made all their arena out of plexiglass. Because they keep
God.
having to limit the robots.
Having the actual outer barrier out of that material is fine, but not the barrier of the arena itself, the actual side walls, because they're so easy to get ripped open. And that you have to have firm actual side walls of the arena.
What's so funny is that this robot Blur failed. I say failed to qualify. It was basically rejected. What does it say on the wiki? It says its design was banned.
Yeah.
So it's effectively been disqualified from Series 4, and then Series 5 we have things like, was that the series that like Fluffy debuted?
Yeah, Fluffy, Fluffy and Corkscrew.
Just ripping up the arena walls as much as they want, all the way to the end of Series 7. They don't give a shit about the arena walls, but fuck Blur in particular.
Waiting to get to Typhoon in Series 7, that thing breaks the arena like 3 times or something in Series 7.
It's just so aggravating that they have a robot which probably wouldn't even have worked or done very well.
No.
And they just arbitrarily decide, no, you're too dangerous, you can't compete anymore. We want our big names to compete instead, even though they're way more dangerous than you.
And they let Warhog in, which is basically another robot that just was so out of control and just spun really fast and bashed into everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they picked based on appearance, and when they got particular designs in there, maybe because the team didn't want to leave or something, they're like, okay, well, fine. Now we're saying you're too dangerous and you have to go home.
Yeah, and they can't argue with that reason.
No, it's really dumb. But one thing I actually will say about Blur, which is quite cool though, is actually this is made by the same team who made Barry and Sonic.
Oh, well, you couldn't get much worse.
No, it's just I think because this is probably one of the most interesting robots, probably the most interesting robot they've actually made. I mean, Sonic and Barry are pretty much the same robot with different outer layers on them. It's got the same wheels and the same, like, pretty much just out of control nature that they had. But they actually come up with a unique design to a degree. I mean, there wasn't a sit and spinner really that was like purposely meant to be a sit and spinner. Like, I think it was Spin Doctor in Series 2. And that thing just kind of looked out by just spinning at things and hoping for the best. But this thing was built to sit and spin. And
no, it's just like, hey lads, you're not allowed to enter this. Come back with Sonic.
yeah. Oh look, here's Banshee. Let's let this thing in 'cause it looks stupid.
Well, yeah, literally.
And it lasted.
All they needed to do was put a big fiberglass face on Blur, and they would have been allowed in. I bet you.
Well, yeah, there you go. Banshee got in, Warhog got in. They both had faces.
We've all got a theme going here for robots that just have to look aesthetically pleasing in order to get in, or at least unique.
Note to self and everybody else: if you want to get into a robot competition, put a face on it.
Agreed.
Doesn't matter if it doesn't work; you will get in if there's a face on it.
I would just like to have seen Blur compete just to see if it actually could have been effective.
Well, it looks okay from a design point, doesn't it? Is it invertible as well?
Yeah, it's invertible. Yeah, the wheels stick out the rim, so it's definitely invertible. I mean, it wouldn't make this thing non-invertible with Chaos 2 running around. I mean, fucking hell.
Well, I mean, you say that, but Vlad the Immapler was non-invertible that we just looked at, so...
I've actually, all these robots weren't, so okay, sorry. But some people do at least, by Series 4, some people did at least think about it. To a degree. They didn't actually just go... Not every team was like, wait, let's just make a robot and not care about self-right mechanism. Then you see, like, Bot Hell later and go, they just didn't think. Again, going for aesthetic over design, sometimes it looks good on TV, but then they all just go out really quickly. That's the problem.
But I don't know why the producers couldn't try and find that balance, because... I mean, Fatboy Tin's another machine that qualified with a face, but yeah, I get it. A lot of the audience watching will be kids. They want nice visual things, but we do also want to see a lot of good machines and not just like 12.
This is why
the semi-finalists in Series 4 were mostly good to really good machines, but so much of the other machines just filled the entire list of machines there. There was no random robot that maybe Blur could have been, that could have just been a bit of a wild card, been potentially competent. It's either you're really good or you're there to have a face on you. That's it.
This is why I like BattleBots, and particularly Robotica. Because you get a lot of robots that... You get the robots that are kind of well-designed but not visually interesting. But then you get robots... Yeah, like the robots that the Panzer team made, the Juggernaut or whatever. They're not, the most out-there designs, but they work. And then you get robots that are just so weird, like Chomp-a-Lot, or General Chomp-Slot, whatever it was called, Jawbreaker in Robotica. Like, those robots, they're so weird-looking, and it actually worked. Yeah, it's both pleasing to the eye and effective. And they got a good balance, and then you had the really shit ones, like I forgot. There's that one from Series 1 that broke down, and then the other team had just got through the entire heat because they just did because they broke down in the first round or something, which is the easiest round to do. But whatever.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is always a place for comedy robots, but balance certainly wasn't there for Robot Wars for the most part. I think it improved around Series 7, the last series. Like, there was a lot of trash in there, but there wasn't... No machines really just broke down either. There was a lot that kept moving, and that's the bare minimum you want. Like, Chaos 2. Or I want to take Bulldog Breed on something like, I don't know, Juggernaut, which looks like an absolute mess, but got on the show because it looks like an absolute mess. But that doesn't make it entertaining to see lose. It literally just fell over. At least if Bulldog Breed faced a boring invertible square, then it would have flipped it around for like 2 minutes or something. There would have been more for us to watch there instead of Juggernaut's flipper literally falling off by being flipped itself.
Oh god, we've talked less about Blur and more about the implications of Blur. But
Poor Blur.
That does actually sound like a book, The Implications of Blur. But talking about the band,
I mean, at the very minimum, I have a new favorite game to play: Spot the Robot That Got In Because of a Face.
yeah,
Oh, Velociraptor's another one from Series 4.
yeah, Robo Chicken,
Major Tom.
Robo Pig. Oh, we
no.
even Crash and Asher. We can go forever with this game, but
Yeah, I mean, would Chronic the Wedgehog have qualified without a face? No.
maybe not. Although it's relatively more competent than half the robots we've just mentioned, which is
A
sad.
bit, but imagine that, like a silver square with a lifter on it.
Yeah,
Wouldn't have got it.
nah.
Oh,
but
Maverick. Maverick's another one.
Oh,
I'm sorry to keep going.
sorry,
But
yeah.
there's so many.
Yeah, I'm saying we're going to move on because we're talking about Blur for so... Well, not talking about Blur, that's the point. We've not been talking about Blur for so long. It's a sit-and spinner. Woo! Awesome. Next. Transitions. What are those? This is the second robot I've picked, and I picked it only because of the name. That's it. That's all I picked it for. Termigator. This this thing looks like it's from BattleBots.
Hey,
Like-
it's got a face on it.
Yes, it didn't qualify though.
No.
Didn't qualify. A robot that didn't follow the rules.
James, you said it looks like it's from BattleBots. It looks like it's from American Robot Wars Extreme Warriors to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
there's alright. I don't know if you can remember. There was one robot from that appeared in the Nickelodeon Extreme Robot Wars, whatever, that looked like this, and I can't for life
You
remember
mean in terms of
design.
the robot's length? Because there was a... Was it Spin Doctor that looked incredibly long? But,
Oh, it might have been.
but in terms of like an animal-themed robot, there was Snookums.
No, I think I might have been thinking of Spin Doctor, like shape-wise. I'm thinking of the shape and like the exposed
Right.
wheels and
Yeah,
everything.
I think that'll be the one you're thinking of then.
Yeah.
Which was just literally a long rectangle.
There was
Though
a-
that had a spinner on it and not a crocodile's head.
Yeah, there was another one that also like lost a wheel randomly, just like out of nowhere. But enough about that series. Termigator apparently has a jaw. A clamp. I don't know where it is. I mean, it looks like a tongue on the front, but I don't think that's a clamp. I don't see.
Wait, is the static spike on the front or is it on the back? Because there's something covered up at the back as well.
I think the back is the spike. I
But I
think,
can't see how the front could be a clamp.
unless that whole mouth moves.
I wonder if just the green section of the head is supposed to be the part that opens up, but I don't
Yeah.
see a hinge or anything for it.
No.
So
No, I don't know. I mean, this thing is. This is also the second robot from the same team as Tiger Shark, so they've gone for an animal theme, I've noticed. And if this wasn't a coincidence enough, they had a robot that failed to qualify for the middleweight championship in Series 2 called Scorpion.
Oh,
What is this episode? This episode has got so many connections, it's amazing. I mean, I'll give them a lot of credit for this robot. I mean, you know, this is the reason why I think they should have got in, hands down. Not because the robot isn't very good, not because its quote-unquote active weapon is barely visible, not because it's just a stupid robot with a face. No, they should have got in because it's wearing motherfucking sunglasses. Come on. It's a Termigator. It has to wear them.
wow. I can we end the episode there?
We've
Can
got
we please?
we've got 3 more to talk about.
a crocodile or an alligator, sorry, wearing sunglasses.
I would
I don't need to go further than that.
I suppose you don't, but I just wanted to see it. At least I love the fact it's so dumb. It is so dumb. This robot again. It does look like something from Nickelodeon Extreme Warriors series of Robot Wars. It just looks very basic. Like it was a stock robot that was given to an American team at the last moment.
This was supposed to qualify for Series 7?
7.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
7.
Here, I was thinking this failed Series 3. This was Series 7? Oh my god.
Yeah, because Tiger Shark was Series 4 and 5, and Sharky was Series 3, and they had this for Series 7. I mean...
Wait, so this is the... oh my god, so they ended up making a robot even worse than Sharky.
Yes.
For a series,
and...
like... 4 later.
Right.
Wow.
The thing is, right, I'm like, you're shocked that this thing didn't make it into Series 7. Yet there are tons of robots in Series 7. You will facepalm right through your face and it'll hit the wall behind you. Robots that made it into Series 7. Just a few previews. There's Arachnia. There's got Scary Go Round, the greatest robot ever made, of course.
God, even that name is cringing.
Yes, Cobra, a robot that sounds cool, but lost drive in 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I'll defend Series 7, as you know, but I can't defend Cobra.
You can't defend the original Tomahawk either. There's Jabba, Devastator, Leveler 2, Herbinator.
Leveler 2 is fantastic. I will not accept that slander.
Fair enough. But okay, Scary Go Round is the summation of bad robot. Like, if something like Twister or Monaz is the representation of Series 5, then I think Cobra and Scary Go Round are the representation of Series 7 for bad robots.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
It's true, and honestly, this thing would fit in. That's the sad thing. You say it looks shit, but it would fit in Series 7 for how bad it is. And it wasn't really until Series 8 when they actually put the foot down and went, no, not putting this many terrible robots in again. We'll still put Sweeney Todd in, but we're not going to put this many terrible robots again. That was their rule.
I just can't get over Series. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Warhead was built a full year before this thing.
Yeah.
Warhead.
Also, by confirmation, there's a picture on the wiki where you can see it was fighting Can Opener in a random live event, which I can't imagine went well. But you can see the front of it, and yes, the jaw does not move at the front. It's just a tongue.
Oh, for goodness sake.
There is nothing really that looks like a clamp, so, I mean, unless I'm proved wrong, I can't see anything that would be anything to do with a clamp. So I don't know where the jaws are, or anything. It seems like the most obvious place to put them in the front, and they're not there. So I don't know. But Termigator, I love it. I love how shit it is. This is one of those robots I know Mike would disagree, but I'd love to see this thing in Series 7 just to see what the fuck would happen to it.
I desperately want to hear somebody try and merge like an Arnold Schwarzenegger and Steve Irwin accent.
Oh, an Australian.
I want to see the team talk like that.
Australian. Oh, yeah. That's a new level of crap. That is. Oh boy, I'd love to hear some. If someone can do that, send me a message at PO Box Jimjamatic / wherever. I don't know wherever I live. There, that's my address.
Wherever you live.
I don't get much post, obviously. Amazon doesn't know where I live, unfortunately.
No.
But yeah, Termigator sucks, but I love it. And it's wearing sunglasses, so it should have got in Series 7 confirmed. I shouldn't have to be talking about this robot, but I am. God damn it. Then the final pick from Nick's last pick, that rhymes, is a robot that is... It's just a Formula 1 car. It's called F1, so...
this is lovely.
Please tell me why you picked this thing. For love of Christ.
Please tell me why I shouldn't have picked this thing. Look at it. It's absolutely amazing.
Really?
I have to agree with you. I really, really like the look of this robot.
Yeah.
Okay, I was fucking joking. This thing's fucking awesome. But it was overweight. It was 8 kilograms overweight, and apparently some teams were annoyed that it even got a chance to qualify, but it didn't qualify anyway, so no one cares.
It was probably just the helmet that made it overweight, let's be honest.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, I'd love to have seen how this thing performed. I mean, it's like an early predecessor to GBH2.
Yeah.
It really is.
it would have fit in Series 4. It has a Series 4 look about it. Just something random but interesting looking. It
Yeah.
nearly has a face on it.
Nearly.
So
I mean, I've just got.
it says a lot though that an actual Formula One car has a wedge. Has a better wedge than most of the other robots in this series.
Yes.
Honestly, this could have been really exciting if they had done it right. Like, could you imagine F1 if it had like tornadoes levels of pushing and drive power?
Oh, that would be
Exactly.
amazing.
That would be incredible. Just doing laps of the arena, ramming underneath things.
Imagine this thing like in the Robotica like racing event they had in Series 1. If it was like really fast, it'd just be skidding and drifting all over the place. I'd love it.
Although I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but you'd also get loads of Formula One jokes out of Jonathan Pierce.
Oh, you would, yeah.
You know, that's something.
I'm fine with that. I mean, the best thing about this robot, though, I mean, just like the sunglasses on Terminator, there is always that one thing that makes these robots good, except the Black Knight, and that is, it has the number 69 all over it.
Yeah,
And
that's something.
And the internet finds that hilarious, so I just thought I'd point out in case people in the comments are going, duh, it's got 69 on it. I know.
Maybe that's why it failed to qualify.
Too lewd.
Yeah.
You could just paint it over it, but no, people will know there's a 69 there, even if they can't see it.
Those numbers make you overweight.
Yeah. Yeah.
8 kilograms of numbers.
Oh, that's got to be like a robot in the future, like cluster bot of numbers. 8 kilograms of numbers. Please make that in an ant weight tournament or something. But
Real quick, because I didn't watch Formula One until the last like 5 or 6 years, really. Wasn't the way that they numbered their cars based on where they finished in the previous year's points?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I don't follow Formula One.
Oh, well, fantastic.
Great.
We're learning so much here on the Jimjamatic podcast.
We've learned many things today. The number 69 is funny. Alligators with glasses are awesome, and we don't know anything about sports, so that's good. Great.
Yes.
Although I will say that this is technically the second Formula One. There's actually 3 Formula One robots, and this is the only one that didn't qualify, because also we had Shumi, didn't we, in Series 2 and 3?
Oh, of course we did.
And we had GBH2 in Series 6, and this is the only one to qualify. And this is the one that most looks like a Formula 1 car.
Yeah.
And it didn't get in, and it's annoying. Damn the producer. I mean, it's annoying, because the producers wanted, like, put a Scorpion, put Scorpion in, it looks funny. This thing looks terrible, don't put it in.
Well,
Why?
at least we got Destructor Bubble. Can't complain too much.
I can complain a lot about that.
Oh, I just read about its qualification fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this.
Nobody knows what robot it lost to.
No, you can see it in the only picture of this robot. You can see half of it. It looks like apparently it was described as looking like Mr. Punch, which is not a good sign.
What is that thing?
I don't know. It looks like just a giant box with an axe on it.
An unidentified robot wielding an axe, and neither of them qualified.
It just looks like a giant box with an axe from that picture. It doesn't look like anything special.
Like, I know that there were a lot of crap robots from like Series 4, but like, how bad must it have been if all of the robots involved in that fight failed to qualify?
Yeah, lost to Shunt in the end, so
Surprised Shunt didn't fail to qualify.
Yeah, the house robots didn't qualify because he failed all the time. Yeah.
Just Shunts replaced by Refbot in the CPZs for Series 4.
The only evidence this robot even exists is a random double spread in one of the Robot Wars magazines where you see a few pictures from qualifying battles, and this is one of them. You see them, you see Terminate. You actually see Terminal Frost, his second entry that you can barely see.
Oh, lovely.
You can see possibly. All right. You'll see. You have the first version of the Executioner and PC Plod, and also possibly the most horrible battle I could imagine watching this in real time is Little Fly versus Millennium Bug.
Oh no! You're kidding.
You can see it. You can see it in the.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember that now. Isn't it? Little
both.
fly with a different paint job or something.
Yeah, it's basically just black with a yellow with a yellow blade on it, as opposed to an orange blade and kind of the metal and orange color it had later. But
I'm sorry. Just what gets me about that little blurb about Little Fly versus Millennium Bug is that at the time Millennium Bug was considered the best walker Robot Wars had ever seen.
you know, the sad thing is they're actually not wrong. I mean, it was up between that and Claude Hopper as the best walkers in Spy Series 4.
Oh
Oh
dear.
my god.
Probably third was Anarachnid, just for how it actually moved. So, you know, that's a positive, I guess. But yeah, F1 is interesting, and I wish it had made it in. I don't care if it would suck in the first round. I'd rather see this over robots like Humphrey or Mazakari or Medusa 2000, which is forgettable. Just give me this thing. I want my Formula One car. I'm not leaving till I get it. All right. This podcast is gonna be 24 hours long plus now. You just know it. It was me just sat there going, "I want my Formula One car," like a pouty teenager. Still want my Formula One car. But I guess with that, we'll move on to Mike's final entry, which is the only one of the modern series. Actually, currently the last series, although it's sad to say that, of Robot Wars. It is Deadlock. The most impressive robot on this entire group of robots, admittedly.
Well, I mean, it is from Series 10, but
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love the unique way this control robot is.
that's what, like, I've been following the Deadlock team since they tried to enter Series 9, because like they were putting up CADs of what the robot was going to look like, and they had a blog, I think, or maybe it was a Reddit post about all the issues that they were having trying to make everything fit. And I was like, yeah, this robot looks just spectacular, just so far outside of the norm of, you know, a box-shaped chassis that's also a weapon. And it's like, let's see this thing. And then they never actually got it done.
No, the robot apparently, because I was talking to people like Steven and stuff who actually were in the pits when this thing was around, and it was pretty much in shambles when it came to Series 10. You can see from the picture the actual color of the robot is still the stock metal color they had. It wasn't even like painted or designed or anything. It was basically just the chassis with some parts in it, and most of it was just kind of on the desk. It was a nightmare getting this thing working, and they just weren't ready in time. They had to replace it with Coyote in the end. It's a shame, actually, because both this and Point Blank and Triforce are kind of three modern robots that came back at least from tried to come from multiple series, made it to one series, and then for some reason didn't make it in. And it's really frustrating.
It kind of is, like, speaking from an American standpoint, where I'm kind of bored by seeing, you know, all wedge flippers all the time. A clamp lifter in Robot Wars sounds absolutely spectacular. Let's do that. Drive around, pick up Carbide or Eruption or whoever, and then just carry them over your head to the pit. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and these guys actually had some decent live show success as well. Like, they've actually beaten Iron Ore 8 at some point in a whiteboard battle, which is pretty cool for like a giant flipper robot. You know, beating them, and that's also when they were working, because they only used them to work on live events for some reason. I love the complete control style of it. It's very sleek as well. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, the CAD just looks gorgeous. I love the CAD that they have on the wiki of it.
I think the CAD looks nice in the actual robot. Because I love the kind of three-pronged approach they had for both the grabbers.
I think they had to change that because of weight issues.
Yeah, they kept it on the bottom.
Correctly.
They kept it on the bottom at least, which is nice.
Yeah.
It does look very nice. It's probably one of the nicest robots that didn't make it in, unfortunately. It's just a shame the robot just wasn't ready. That was all it was all down to. The robot just was not built, really. It was like the Parthian Shot. It just wasn't built, really. But unlike the Parthian Shot, they never even got it working in Robot Wars. They just had to give up and like work on it at home and then enter live events, hoping for a Series 11. And then that didn't happen.
No.
That was unfortunate.
You know what it's doing now?
What's that?
Picking up boxes.
Oh yes, yes. This Mike was referring to the one of the Twitter posts, I believe, where he said if it doesn't work, at least we can make it into a forklift, and it's just carrying all these boxes and stuff. It's just like, yeah, it. I feel kind of bad for it. This is what my life's come to. I'm carrying boxes now. I was in Robot Wars.
At least it did have some use after the wars were over, though. Let's be fair to it.
It could be worse. It could be Siren who was just left in a shed for like 15 years.
Oh, poor Siren.
Or my favourite one is a Mock, one of the Dutch robots that got its shell.
Oh, yeah.
It got gutted of its electronics, and its shell was just stuck on a tree, and it's just stood there for all eternity, just stuck on this guy's tree, which is so sad. It's like a crucifixion for a robot. It really is.
I wonder if the Deadlock team has applied for BattleBots.
I hope they have, because I think this thing would really fit in BattleBots. It's one of the most BattleBots robots I've seen in Robot Wars, or at least 4 Robot Wars. I would love to see it. I don't know how well it would do, but I would be for control. If it's like complete control, I think it would work really well. I know what you guys would think, but I think it would work quite well.
If they did not put it up against a big spinner right away, it would work really well.
Yeah, if they put it in with those like more reserve rumbles of like deviled egg and things like that, then just in the lower tier, let's say, then I'm sure it could have had a bit of fun. It does look nice, and it's a machine you always want to. It's the type of design that you always want to see on the show, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, fair play to guys who make it. Mark, Robert, and Rob. This is a very good machine you've made, and I really love it. It's just a shame we never got to see it in the main series, but at least you've had some live success, So it's not all been wasted, I guess. You've had some combat experience, and hopefully, if Robot Wars ever comes back, then you can at least say you've got some experience to the show for the producers. And they gave you a chance in Series 10, so they might give you another chance in a future series if you ever do it. It's possible. Never know. But it's a good choice, and it's definitely one of those modern robots I wish I'd seen in the series, but can't win it all, I guess, can you?
No.
And then the final robot is the last one. It's my pick. A robot that looks impressive, but lost in the stupidest way possible. It's called Pendragon. Same team made Tor, and most notably Saint Agro. This is their robot that failed to qualify for Series 5. Yeah, Series 5. It basically looks like Cassius 2, just off the bat.
It is Cassius 2. There's no mistaking it.
It might as well be Cassius. Honestly, I would have believed it if Rex Garrett had sold off Cassius 2 to these guys. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, because it looks so like it. But... And even can self-write. There's even a bit image of it on the wiki self-writing, so that's pretty cool. At least it works. But then it lost... I don't know how to say this. It lost to possibly the stupidest robot in the qualifiers. It lost to Ruff Dougal. Yeah. And Ruff Dougal actually beat them. It wasn't a case of, they went to a draw and they just didn't get selected. No, Ruff Dougal beat them.
Ruff Dougal didn't just beat them. It immobilized them by stabbing through their armor.
Yes, it did. They lost mobility after a few stabs. There's even a picture on the wiki of a hole saying Dougal did this with a giant's pierce in it. That's what you get for plexiglass armor, I guess, but this technically means because of this robot failing, this is the reason why Ruff Dougal was in the series, not because the producers thought it was a fun robot. It actually earned its way in. Sad to say, but it's true. Wow. I mean, talk about extreme levels. A robot that looks really impressive and it loses to one of the most joke robots of Series 5. Thoughts on this thing?
I don't.
I don't.
I don't know what to say. I don't know why it bothered. If it's gonna lose to Ruff Dougal, why did they even make it public that they had this match? Cover it up. Don't say that you lost to Rough Dougal by KO.
Don't associate yourself with them.
It was pitted by Rough Dougal after being KO'd before that. Oh my god.
Bear in mind, Rough Dougal's weapon was a flywheel-powered spike.
Yeah.
It wasn't pneumatic. It wasn't like a ramming spike. It was just.
It was just this thing that went around in circles and then poked outwards.
It was essentially like on a wheel hub, and it just spun round with with a spike attached to it, and it somehow got beaten by that thing. Fucking wow. It's weird because Pendragon's one of those robots that you actually look at it and you go, how did this thing not qualify? It looks competent. It's got a giant flipper on it. I mean, yeah, it is Cassius 2 basically, but at least it's competent stuff. They could win loads of battles, and then you realise why they lost, and then you're kind of not surprised. Like, imagine something like Tornado got into this thing. It would just beating this thing up.
Could you imagine how deep Spikosaurus could run through this machine?
Spikosaurus just ripped all the internals out of it.
It could probably go in one side and out the other with its spikes.
All the more reason why I wish Spikosaurus had appeared for more than one series. Because that's one of the biggest disappointments for me. And this is the kind of robot would have been just perfect for them. Absolutely perfect. I'm just amazed by that revelation, really. It's just, at least they had Saint Aggro in the next series. That's something. I mean, they didn't lose to a really shitty robot, I don't think, so they just drove in the pit in Series 6. But Pendragon, I would call it the best, one of the better robots on this list, and then after losing Rough Dougal, I can't even ever say that. Ever.
Yeah, I think all you can say is that this machine proves that looking good design-wise doesn't mean you're actually gonna be good.
Oh god, no.
It's like, it reminds me of Worm before Series 9. Like, I love the team, but I remember so many people saying that Worm could do pretty well just because it had a spinner killer looking wedge on the front.
One that
and then
broke off. One that broke off in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Actually, on a slight tangent there, I remember there was the team captain was talking about, Nicholas was talking about that on the Hardcore podcast, I think, and they mentioned that bit, and apparently they didn't show it on camera, but they were really confident about the one of the team members saying, "Oh, put the scoop towards the spinner to deflect it." They did that. As soon as the spinner went off, he just kind of went, "Oh." Really deadpan, and I wish they'd shown that on camera, but they didn't. But yeah, that was a side story. But that was the robots that never were, and maybe some of them deserve to never have been. Some do. I would like to see Deadlock and Blur.
Oh, James, I just realized something. We fucked up.
What's that?
Because Deadlock might were in the future.
Oh no! Oh, this episode's ruined now. God damn it! Alright, I'll just delete this recording. No one will ever hear it. It's fine. It's okay. It might be. It were in the past.
We're gonna have to replace Deadlock with Science Block then.
Oh fuck that! No, you've already said no to that once. We're not saying yes to it again. Yeah, spoilers. That was the robot that he picked. The block on wheels, literally Science Block on wheels. So yay. But yeah, that was the robots never were, and potentially will in the future. In fact, are actually now. So this again is dated. So oh well. But yeah, this is episode 5. It was something. we had some laughs. We had some thrills. We had some sunglasses, and we had Pendragon.
I forgot about the sunglasses. Goodness sake!
Don't you ever forget about the sunglasses? Come on.
I wish I could.
How do you think the Plunder Boys would feel about that if you said that? Forget about the sunglasses. Nah. It's not.
I'm like 80% sure that Terminator is going to be your profile picture now, James.
I actually might edit that with the meme sunglasses, the dank sunglasses on it. I think that might be my official profile at some point now.
Oh no, what have we started?
Well, I know what the thumbnail's going to be anyway.
Oh.
Anyway, let's wrap this thing up because I am losing the will to live with myself. I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm losing
I'm
it.
losing the will to live with you as well.
Thank you. At least we're mutual.
I lost it before the episode, but
Oh,
I've
well.
soldiered it.
He soldiers on. Anyway, I'm Jimjamatic, signing off.
I'm Mr. Psycho going back to the garage.
And I am NJGW going to edit the Science Block wiki page. See you later.
Go, you noble steed.